Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Good afternoon, good evening. I do hope that you're well. My name is Amanda Ellis, and a very warm welcome to my channel, whether you are new or whether you have been with me a while. We're going to be celebrating the energies of Solstice in this video. And normally what I do is I split the video into two. I do a reading for the different hemispheres, whether you're going into winter solstice or summer solstice. But I'm not guided to do that this year. I'd like to bring through a more unified message, and it is going to be linked into the energy of the sun. It is going to be linked into the powerful colour rays of gold and yellow, talking about those properties and how they can help to balance and heal our life, as well as what they show up about ourselves if maybe we have an aversion to them. We will weave in probably some colour crystals, some colour sprays, some cards. So there's a lot to get through in this video, but hopefully it will be one that helps to uplift you and restore you, because wherever you are in the world, whether you're going into winter, whether you're going into summer, we need the light within us at all times to keep us going, to heal us, to restore us. It is food for the cells. So I just feel there's a lot of gloom in the world at the moment. There's a lot of difficulty. There's a lot of challenge. That's why I really want to feature the sun's energy very strongly in this video. So shall we get going? Let's start off by spraying one of the yellow sprays. I will put all of them down below in a link, and I will try to remember to remind you at the end of the video if you're interested in exploring them, because we've got a few, but this is the one I'd like to start with, which is the Lemon Joy spray. It was the one that, to be honest, I think it was one of the first ones that was created many years ago, back in 2012. And it was our answer in many ways for depression, for low mood, for seasonal affective disorder. It's not saying that one little squirt of this can do it all for you. Oh no, it can't. But what it can do is help support a journey back to wellness, happiness, and absolutely to try to help you see the joy in the little moments in life. And when we can start to see the joy in the little moments in life, we can build a ladder where we start to appreciate more and more, and it helps to lift us up rather than lower us down. So let's just spray this to get going, and then I'm going to do some cards and we'll see what wants to come through. So just sending out some of that beautiful yellow ray. Just allow that to come around you. And more than anything, what I'm seeing it doing today is it wants to brighten and polish the aura around all of us. It's as though, because what is going on in the world is difficult and challenging, what human beings can do subconsciously a lot of the time, and we did it as children when we felt maybe a little bit afraid or unsure or uncertain, is children will sort of contract a little bit. So it's as though the aura in many of you, what I'm sensing, is slightly contracted. So what we need to do is to expand it. But I'm also feeling as though this yellow energy is helping to buff and polish it, to make it shinier and brighter, as well as helping to replenish, but also stitch is the word I'm hearing, stitch together any tears. Because when we are weakened by the opposite of joy, unhappiness, depression, grief, anything that is, that lowers us, it can, if we're not careful, weaken not just our physical self and our mental self, but it absolutely weakens the aura as well. So I'm feeling as though this yellow and gold is really needed right now to, as I say, repair, buff up is what I'm hearing, and help the aura to be more shiny. But equally, this shininess is also protective, because yellow is within the spectrum of the golds, and gold is a colour that is protective. So it's not going to make you so shiny that you're attracting even more darkness and shadow. It's actually a repellent as well. I mean, Metatron's got a bit of a sense of humour today. This smells lovely, okay? It smells of beautiful citruses and lemon and marigold, whatever else is in it. I can't remember. You can look for yourself. All of the oils are detailed on our website. But he's saying it can be a bit like mosquito repellent, but the mosquitoes are... It's like that dark, pesky energy, okay? I'm not saying it will help with mosquitoes, but it's just an analogy, okay? Right, so we've got our yellow all around us. Let's pull a couple of cards from the Akashic Tarot deck, which has got a nice yellow vibe to it. So I'm going to go with that. And let's see what 2 cards we get. So let's have a look at the energies for Solstice. So tuning into the people watching, tuning into where the collective energy is at. And we're just going to look at what solstice energies are generally feeling like at the moment. I'm going to pull one for the run-up and then one for the actual period itself. So the run-up to solstice. We've got the Queen of Forces and we've got Archangel Gabriel. The Queen of Forces and Archangel Gabriel. Now, this is a powerful card. This is a woman. I mean, can you see the painting behind me? That's actually the card of discernment in the Christ consciousness deck, but I've chosen it deliberately for today's video because it shows a lady and half of her face is in the light and the other half is in shadow. And it's sort of like, where are you putting your attention? Are you putting your attention to what is negative, maybe around you, and you're attracting more of that in? You know, the company that we keep, not just physical people, but the company that we keep on social media as well. Is it feeding you and nourishing you and helping to restore your light quotient and upgrade energy? Or is it making you weakened, more fragile, more split, more fearful? Okay, so this lady here, which represents us, it's where we all are aspiring to be, because she's balanced the dark and the light, the shadow energy within herself and the brightness that she holds as well. And she's just owning all of it, basically. And we've got Archangel Gabriel here on the bottom of the deck, a messenger angel, and he's looking pretty pleased with himself. He's just coming in with a loud message. So maybe I feel as though this is Gabriel saying that maybe more of the world in the run up to solstice is starting to more clearly see the darkness and the light in our world. But hopefully also, this is my prayer really, that people are being able to see the darkness and the light within everything, the duality within everything. It's so easy just to pick out the darkness that I see in you and the light that I see in you. But it's a rare bird who's able to spot the light and the dark within every human being, including within themselves. But that is the goal, because that is the truth. Everything in this universe at the moment, within our universe, the Earth, is dualistic. And Gabriel is saying people are starting to wake up to that. And when we start to really appreciate that, we're less concerned with projecting and also just noticing the splinter in our brother's eye, as it says in the New Testament, rather than the plank in our own. Okay, we start to understand that. That basic thing. We've also got Archangel Raphael on the bottom of the deck, so we've got a lot of Archangel energy coming in. Raphael, the master physician, the healer, the green ray. So a lot of Archangel energy before solstice. Now let's have a card for solstice itself. And to be honest, that has just flown out of the deck before I even could do anything. And I'm going to have to look up the actual message of this card. It's card number 1, and it is, sorry for the box slamming there, it's the Oracle of Delphi. So let's have a look at what it says, and then we will discuss. So it says, the priestess at Delphi sits upon a high 3-legged seat. Steam gently rises from a small fissure in the ground. Nearby, a robed priest prepares to write upon an open scroll. While the priestess physically receives the perceptions from Apollo, it is the priest who interprets her pronouncements. In this, we see the two important keys in psychic experience: perception and interpretation. When you receive this card, you're in a time of great insight and psychic power, even if you don't recognize it yet. It lies very close to your consciousness because you have used this gift in so many past lives. You may get images or feelings without knowing how to interpret them. Take notes as you practice both your psychic perceptions and their interpretations. It's basically what I was saying, really, which is that we're starting to see things more clearly. And we can do that because of this huge influx of light into the world. I've just had a walk down to the sea, and one of the things I wanted to weave in today is an article that was in a newspaper which is called I Weekend, letter I Weekend. And it's a brilliant article written by a lady called Anna Bonnet. And what she's done is she's broken down about, 30 different ways that we can get more joy into our life. And there are some great ones. There are ones that are probably quite obvious. There are also other ones that may be less so. So as an example, fake a laugh, stop rushing, grow something, stop putting things off, do a puzzle, clear your clutter, try something new, micro adventures. She does talk about colour therapy, actually, which is brilliant. Celebrate your wins. But she also talks about curating your media consumption. She says you have no idea how much this one thing can change your happiness levels until you try it out. Now, I used a phrase all last week on my other social media, Instagram and Facebook, where I was saying disconnect to reconnect. Not just social media, but other things as well. Just taking the phone off the hook, switching your phone off, going within, but equally just doing the stuff that needs doing, okay? Tending to the garden, seeing your father, whatever it is that needs doing, okay? Just do it. So disconnect from a lot of the clutter that's out there, a lot of the noise that's out there, a lot of the stuff that really isn't important to you and your life. Disconnect from all that, all of the loud voices, to reconnect. And when you reconnect and come back, you see so clearly what's really going on. Over the weekend, I disconnected from a few people that I used to follow, for example. And it was because it was just so clear. It was like, none of this is serving me. This is making me just feel depressed, anxious, fearful. Why am I serving myself up an appetite of that? Why would I do that to myself? Would you do that to a child that you're trying to rear? Would you do that to a friend? Would you do that to a loved one? So be very careful of that whole thing, okay? So I'm hearing disconnect to reconnect, but this Oracle of Delphi, perception and interpretation, just seeing more clearly. Let's have one more card that goes with the Oracle of Delphi, card number 1. Because to be honest, what this card says to me is that here is somebody sitting on a high chair, effectively, making pronouncements that this is the truth. Why are you putting that person above yourself? Whatever your truth is your truth. Whatever you believe in is your belief. Whatever you like is for you to like. We spend so much time and energy trying to bring down other people who don't like the same stuff we like, who don't believe what we believe, who happen to believe something different, who maybe can see something else in something or someone. It's such a waste of energy, my friends. And, maybe this solstice is just going to help us to clearly see our own mastery, our own sovereignty. I really hope that for all of us and myself, to step more and more into that, owning our own truths, that you don't have to agree, that I don't have to agree with you. So much in the world at the moment that is toxic and difficult, and the root of it seems to be that. Right, let's pull a card from another deck. Let's go to this one, which is the Crow Oracle. Solstice energies, please. Wow. What I just said. We've got the card of survival with influence and battle. My God. You see, I believe that the path to sovereignty is being okay with standing alone, not following the crowd. I've never followed the crowd and I never will. And it makes me very unpopular at times with certain subjects, but I don't care. Why do people follow the crowd? This would imply they're easily influenced, and it's also linked into survival. Just think about, and then it's about me against you, my belief against your belief, and then we're into a battleground. And so the circus just keeps going round and round. Yeah, let's break it down to something very simple, like you go into a car park and there's loads of spaces and the person comes and parks right beside you. Why do they do that? It's actually at a subconscious psychological level, it's because it makes them feel safe. You're in a restaurant, you've chosen a nice little spot, you're in a corner, whatever, there's a bit of space around you, it's empty, the noisy party comes in, where do they sit? Right beside you. Happened to me on Sunday. It was so obvious on Sunday. It was literally an empty restaurant. We went out early, doors. It was Saturday night. And, we like our space. So we were sitting in a corner, and literally, like this really noisy family came in. They sat right beside us to the point where the woman was literally like there. She was right behind us. It's safety. It's like I'm safe if I'm with you. It's a survival thing. There aren't as many of us that are just prepared to go it out alone. And it's like, but I feel as though it's growing more. Or if not, it's growing. More people are starting to see the herd mentality for what it is. And actually, what are you getting from being in the herd other than a false sense of safety? Because as I've often said, it's as though the crowd and the herd are lost a lot of the time. They need others to come out of it to lead, well, not necessarily to lead them, but just to give an example or show that you can survive outside of it. Now, I don't know where it is. It just caught my eye. It was in the paper the other day. I think it was in Utah. Am I right in that? Or it could have been Arizona, somewhere in America anyway. And it was a community that are growing. It's a new community that are growing off-grid. I mean, I know it's not new, and there are lots of communities that do this, but it had obviously caught the attention of the powers that be. And there was a big whole article on it. And it's that type of thing. It's like people are just choosing to not play the game anymore. So I guess really what these cards are saying is waking up from the matrix. And maybe that's why I had to do this message today, not about summer solstice or winter solstice. It's just about solstice generally. It's about the light. It's about more people starting to realize that actually, if I stay with the crowd and if I'm influenced by the crowd, maybe it starts to get slim pickings after a while. The benefits are starting to be less good, basically. The benefits aren't as great as they used to be, is what I'm picking up here. Interesting cards, aren't they? Also, this card of influence, this is a very yellow and gold theme because I don't know if you can see it, but it's got cigarette butts, it's got a wine bottle, it's got a rubbish can. It's leading me to want to talk about what influences our behaviour to our detriment. It doesn't mean we can't indulge from time to time if that's what you want to do. But it's quite a graphic card here. That bird has literally got a cigarette in its mouth. It's smoking it. What would you feel if you saw that in nature? A beautiful animal with a cigarette butt sticking out of its mouth, you know? It just doesn't feel right, does it? But we do it to ourselves. Because, oh, don't be such an old prude, it's only a cigarette, it's only a glass of wine. Yeah, fine in moderation and in balance, but it's when under the influence you let your guard down. And interestingly, we've got the card of ghosts on the bottom of the deck as well. And this feels like ghosty, this feels like astral energy, lower astral energy. Whether we like it or not, when we are unduly under the influence or in an addiction, it absolutely can attract in lower astral energies. And that's, I think, why I began this whole video talking about the colour yellow and gold, helping to heal and repair the aura. Because where these lower astral energies get in is through the auric space. I feel as though this just feels like the collective mass, the herd that are just following orders to their detriment, that are just carrying on, going along with the old matrix that we know is broken. This would also include the political system as well, just feeding the dead, dying bird, where both sides of the bird are diseased. It's like, what's the point? Just put it out of its misery, basically. We need to birth something new. But yeah, it just feels as though this whole herd energy is starting to get quite... There's a lot of infighting. It's not as resolute is the word that I'm hearing, and not as united as it used to be. Interesting. So this is the established matrix is starting to crack from within. Interesting. These are not cards that I was expecting to see, but in this reading, but I'm not surprised by what's coming through either. So let's just park that for one moment. And I'd like to go back to two of the things I wanted to talk about in this video. Let's talk firstly about the unsupervised parts of ourself. So how this came up, for those of you that didn't see the photograph I put up yesterday, it was Father's Day, and I put a photograph of my husband John up, and it was from years ago. He was holding, I'll show you the picture, holding Sophie as a baby, and it was just a nice picture, and because it was Father's Day I put it up and said some nice words. That's the picture, okay? And yeah, he does look like a young Cliff Richard. Or Brian Cox, or we had Martin Kemp today. I've not had that one before, but anyway, that's John with Sophie, okay, as a baby. But I hadn't realised, but in the photograph there's this notice, and what it says is, please be aware that this is an unsupervised play area, and you are responsible for your children at all times. So there's John clutching hold of Sophie, absolutely supervising her. And so I was talking this morning about, as a parent, we have a duty to supervise our children at all times, of course. And a lot of the problems we have in the world at the moment, I feel, are due to the breakdown of the family. And if not that, definitely the absence of role models and the absence of a fatherly support or a motherly support or, guardianship, basically, strong guardianship. It's as though there's lots of kids, there's lots of older kids as well, there's lots of grown-up kids just running wild. And why are they doing that? It's like a breakdown of the family structure and supervision. So that was one point I was making. But then Metatron was talking about, but think about this in a wider sense now. Please be aware that this is an unsupervised play area and you are responsible for your children at all times. What if that children that's running rampage is actually, it's your unhealed self? So think about your life. Times when you let your unhealed self run rampage. They might say horrible, hurtful things on social media, because a truly happy, healthy person doesn't do that, okay? Or they will lash out in, the real world in all sorts of other ways. Or maybe it's your wounded self that doesn't feel heard. So again, unsupervised by your higher self, your wiser self, your more mature self, your more evolved self, your parent self, your adult self, it can lead to absolute chaos. So it's about this card. Where's it gone? It's about trying to integrate all these different parts of ourself. The wounded, the shadow, the damaged inner child maybe, the adult that has grown and evolved, and just bringing it all together. So I feel as though that this solstice energy is about bringing the unhealed parts of ourselves together. And what I'm wanting to say, and this sounds a big statement to make, but it shouldn't be really if you're on a spiritual path, is as though I want us just to bring them before God. Okay, and it feels as though there needs to be a humbleness. There needs to be a humbleness. There needs to be a letting go of the ego self. Now, you see, ego is also a very yellow colour ray thing. It's the solar plexus when it's out of balance and it's all just about me, me, me. It's about my opinion. It's about I'm right and you're wrong. It's about sometimes the brain and the mind not being linked in with the heart energy, with maybe your akashic energy in terms of your remembrance of other things that you know, other things that you've learnt, things that you've forgotten maybe. So it's bringing the ego self up to the Godhead basically, and asking for healing, for balance, for integration, for whatever it is that you basically need, for whatever it is that you basically need. At this point, let's pull a card from the Christ deck, actually. So bringing our damaged parts of ourself up to the Godhead, creator, source, whatever you want to call it, for healing. So we can become this. This is balanced masculine and feminine. This is balanced, it's all balanced, all the colours of the rainbow. It's balanced all of the elements. And she's standing on water. It's as though, it's really, really powerful. Right, on the bottom of the deck, I've just shuffled the Christ deck, and on the bottom of the deck, we've got this one, which is temptation. Spirit are really ramming home this message today. This is temptation. This is see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. The three monkeys. And there's a crossroads in the back of this card. And it's asking you to really take accountability and responsibility for what you're saying, what's coming out of your lips, or what's coming out of your pen, or what you're typing online, what's coming out of your mouth, okay, and what you're typing, what you're hearing, what you are listening to, what you're seeing. Is it serving you? Is it serving you? Only you can really answer that. And this card is also about having a moral compass, I really feel the energy of Namaste being so important for these crazy times that we're in, which is also about awakening to unpleasant truths in our world, the duality in others, not just ourselves. But if we can just practice the energy of Namaste, that the divine in me does see the divine in you, even though I might not appreciate or particularly like the other shadow parts that I can see, but I can see the divinity in you, and I'm willing that part of you on. In the same way, I'm willing on the divinity within myself and the light within myself to succeed. For me, not to succumb to my lower emotional responses, which the crowd might well be, savouring up. It's the whole energy of the gallows that I've talked about for so many years, I felt so much better over the weekend when I just unfollowed a couple of people that I knew weren't serving me. And they weren't, they weren't even particularly well-known names. They weren't even people I'd chosen to follow. This was the interesting thing. They just kept coming up. Do you know, even on YouTube, in the old days, you used to be able to just block a channel and then you never saw them again. It doesn't work like that anymore. It's like they'll keep coming up. It's like, so I don't know quite what we do about that, but on other channels, particularly X, you can just block them and you never see them again. It's like, oh, such a relief, but equally, just be aware that you're responsible, you're accountable for your moral compass. We look at everyone else's moral compass, but just focus on you. It's about being able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I did the best that I could. I might have made a complete balls up somewhere, and said something wrong or done something wrong, but let's try and atone for that. There are many times that my first response isn't always loving, but I will always, I do stand by this, I will always come back to it, and I will either remove something I've written, or most times I just won't post it in the first place, because I've got a filter. I have a filter before I maybe certainly come online and do something or say something. Can we always have filters in real life? No. I mean, I had a meltdown only last week, and I will tell you, because it's important that you see teachers as human flawed beings. There are far too many teachers out there that are putting themselves up as this great, all-seeing guru, and it's not the truth, because nobody is without sin, without flaw, without shadow, without work to do on themselves. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. But I'd had a bit of a day of it. I can't remember the details. And then Lucy wanted to lift in somewhere for something. And to be honest, she could have walked, but, she can wind me round a little finger. So I found myself doing this and got to the car park, and basically she put the wrong details of my car in. So we got a parking fine, basically. That's what happened. So even though we'd paid for the parking, it was showing the wrong registration. So obviously, I have to pay the fine. And because it was the end of the day, I was tired. I mean, these are excuses really, but I'm just being honest. I had the meltdown of all meltdowns, okay? Not to anybody, just in the car. Lucy heard it all, of course. It was not my best moment, I have to be honest. But, to that, I send forgiveness. I send humbleness. It's about trying to maybe not do that next time. Understand the circumstances, why it happened, etc. Right? So do your best. Do your best at all times, but keep coming back to that moral compass. Was that my finest moment? Would that be how I would like to be remembered? No. Hopefully not. Etc. Right. What else have I written down? So yes, so the unsupervised parts of ourself, just what are they within yourself? Because another unsupervised part of yourself, and I don't really know what I want to call this, but it's the part, and we all have it, which is the, we want the gossip, or we want to be distracted. We want to be distracted. Well, your higher self doesn't really want to be distracted. Your soul doesn't want to be distracted from what it came here to do. Your soul wants to get on with it, to really get on with what you came to do and be and demonstrate or write or sing or paint or whatever it is. What's that distraction all about? Why are we always wanting to be distracted by the next thing? Why can we not concentrate on anything, etc.? I'll pull one more card from the Christ deck. We've got temptation, moral compass. It's that quote, isn't it? For the change that we want to see, for the light that's coming in that we want to do something, we have to demonstrate what the light is that we want to see. We've got the darkest hour, Gethsemane, strength arrives. I know many of you are finding it difficult. I'm finding it difficult as well. Anyone that's not finding it difficult at the moment, I think is living in la la land. And this is the thing I wanted to say earlier. Thanks for nod there from the deck. Right. On my walk today, I was thinking about distraction, and I was thinking about how easily many people are just falling for so many of the really outlandish stuff that's out there at the moment. I'm not talking about questioning things, because I question things all the time. It's good to question. It's good to go down rabbit holes. It's good to know what's there. But as I've always said, if you just stay there forever, you become insane, actually. And I was thinking, to be honest, the darkest truths that lie down the rabbit hole, that most of us know anyway, are best served by the ones that have been on the road a while, that have developed the ability to be able to, well, to be this basically, to be able to hold the light and the dark. What happens, though, in an awakening journey is that people just want to race down the rabbit hole as quickly as they possibly can. And it's as though they don't have the tool set to be able to, one, get themselves out again, but also to be able to deal with it, cope with it. You know, there's no point going down there if you can't cope with what you find. And to be honest, even when you found whatever you found, we still have to come back to this energy of being able to hold the light and the dark, because you chose to come to a planet of light and dark. So there's going to be players that are light and dark on a dualistic planet. And the dark can be very dark and the light can be very light. But actually, even within the darkest soul, there is still light. And within the lightest soul, there is darkness. You know, it's getting away from just this, oh my God, they're dark, they're light energy. Seems to be the theme of this solstice. It's what's coming through here very strongly, isn't it? Let's go to a spray now. And let's go to Jophiel. This feels very appropriate. Jophiel is about beauty and wisdom. It is the energy of Namaste. It is, I'm able to see the beauty and the wisdom. Because even within the darkness, there is soul choice. I'm not going to go into that teaching in this video. I have done a video called Multidimensional Adventures of the Soul. It's a violet pill teaching if you want to explore that, because I just want to stay on solstice energies. Because the soul, you see, the soul just sees experience. The soul just sees adventure. The soul sees growth. The soul sees healing. The soul sees balancing, maybe. I'm talking about from past lives, from past roles, from past incarnations. The soul just sees that it has a job to do, to be something, whatever that is. So let's go to Jophiel. Let's see what he has to say today. Archangel Jophiel, solstice energies. Shine bright like a diamond. Who did that? You see, I think the person who sang that was dualistic. Let's just see. It's not Beyonce, is it? No. Shine like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Rihanna. Yeah, I knew it was. Well, Rihanna. There's darkness there. Many of you know that. There's also probably great light. Very interesting that that's the song that I get given by Jophiel. The woman that's singing, shine bright like a diamond, find light in the beautiful sea, I choose to be happy. You and I, we're like diamonds in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond, shooting stars. But Rihanna, you know, maybe a name to watch in the future. I'm just going to leave it there. Dualistic. There are many of them within the music industry. There are many of them within the entertainment industry. There are many of them everywhere. It's the planet we came to. I just feel people are starting to wake up now to the pointlessness, actually, of the battle. What do I mean by the pointlessness of the battle? Let me pull a card on the battle. The battle is within ourselves, is what I'm hearing. We're too focused on the battle in others. We're too focused on the battle the other players on the board. And some of them are big players. Go to America. Trump versus Biden. Sorry, but the battle is within you. As soon as I say that, there goes another 200 subscribers. Because people don't want to hear it. They do not want to hear it. That the battle is within themselves. The battle is won within you. We have routine. I like that. Because routine to me implies chop wood, carry water. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. I've been banging on and on and on, I know I have, about routines, and priorities is another word for routine to me. Get your priorities right. All this distraction energy and focus on everything else out there is usually at the detriment to ourself, to our health, to our well-being, to our relationships, to our home, to everything else that needs attending to. There was a beautiful quote from one of you. Let me get it up. I've been putting up little shorts on YouTube, 1 minute shorts. And to be honest, I really had to go against my... I don't know how to say it really. It's not really who I am, because I like to do more in-depth teaching, but I realise that people like sound bites. So, and they can be helpful to many people. So I'm happy to do it. But I put one up the other day. There's me. It's called The Mainstream is Where the Change Happens. It's from a video I did ages ago. But in it, I'm basically talking about the fact that I'm often criticised for, don't you know this, don't you know that, you're behind the times, Amanda, don't you realise that that's moved on and no one likes that anymore, or they're evil, this type of thing. And it's like, I know very well. It's my job to know the ins and outs of what's going on. Just because I'm not talking about something doesn't mean that I'm not aware of it. Metatron has always asked me to stay with the mainstream. And what he means by that is just because that's where the change happens. Most people are on YouTube. They're not, for example, on Rumble. They're not. They're just not. So stay with the mainstream, stay with where people are. And the other thing I was saying is that through sometimes the most crazy periods, in this whole awakening journey, particularly over the last couple of years, and the division and the nastiness within the spiritual community, it's mainstream people out there who've kept me sane. Absolutely, to that I would include, obviously, my family, but equally neighbours, the little old lady that's walking down the road, the shopkeeper, the person on the bus, not like go on buses, but that just ordinary, normal, everyday, good, salt of the earth folk who aren't caught up in so much of this nonsense that we see online. And this was a comment that came in about this video. Someone says, so true. I always believe that it's the mainstream masses that prevent doomsday type stuff from happening. It's because regular people are focusing their energy on regular stuff like the school run that keeps society functioning really pretty well on the whole. Thank you. I loved this teaching. Ain't that the truth? The spiritual community, a lot of it at the moment, is just focused on doomsday, on retribution, on who's done what, who's going to be exposed next, how many rotten tomatoes or worse have you got in your bag so we can fling them at them. Let's gather round the guillotines. That's if we haven't broken out into World War III tomorrow. It's just horrendous. Normal, everyday people out there, they're not engaged in it. They're just getting on with their life. So, I really believe that. I've actually been feeling very, very despondent about being on social media full stop over the last 2 years. I have to be honest with you. But I'm carrying on because I know the vast majority of you are sane and are with me. And you get it. And I think you need me and I need you. Okay, so it's teamwork. It's teamwork to keep our sanity, to keep our balance as we try to do this violet pill path, which is about recognizing the battle, yes, the stories, yes, the things that are being said, yes, but all the time just trying to come back to our heart, that I will not pass on, that I will not just continue to gossip about that I'm not just going to stay goggle-eyed at that, There's a beautiful world out there. There's so much joy out there. There's so much beauty out there. Okay. Let's celebrate that this solstice. Let's pull a card from Metatron. You tell them, he's saying. He means that in a nice way, because I know most of you get it. I mean, in many ways, this is like a pep talk, isn't it? Because hopefully we just all need to be reminded of it. We've got the Midnight Indigo card, Mystery and Mastery of Life, with the Fire Dragon. Strength. What does it say? Dragon strength, fire. Yeah. Let's allow this solstice energy to burn off the crud. I love that word crud at the moment. To burn off the crud, to burn off the... I know what I'm wanting to say. It's not really a word I normally would say. I'm hearing feces. To burn off the feces, just the BS that's out there. It's terrible what's out there. It's like we're all walking through. We don't realise it. We're waking up. We're walking through fields which are energetic, which are coming from here, our computers, our TV screens, which are toxic fields full of just these gigantic cowpats is what I'm seeing. Whereas if we could just use this solstice as an opportunity just to throw open the windows, breathe in the fresh air, get out there, normal life, everyday life, go and sweep your yard, do whatever it is you need to do, routine, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Okay, let's end with a spray, guys. And let's go to the golden citrine. Okay, golden citrine is the solar plexus chakra spray. And I feel as though it's the solar plexus that's just out of balance with so many. And we can all, have that from time to time. Anybody been experiencing difficulty with their stomach? Whether it's stomach ache, whether it's an upset stomach, whether it's digestive issues, or maybe it's, positively, it's like you're getting more gut feels about things. It's like I just have a gut feel that person's great or that person's not so great, or I should go for this or I shouldn't go for that. Trust your gut is what they say. The other thing I have to say that I'm really, really wanting to do this solstice, and I'm going to make a promise to myself, is I really want to make a commitment towards better gut health. Okay, so no, not a great sexy subject, but definitely really important for your health. Good gut health, getting the whole atmosphere, that's not called the biosphere I think it's called, within your gut right. Okay, that's a whole journey I want to go down. Okay, one acidophilus tablet a day ain't cutting it. Okay, so it's like you have to look after yourself a bit better than that. As Dr. Mosley would say, get the sauerkraut out, do this, do that. I don't know yet, I haven't started it, but gut health. We talk about heart health a lot of the time, but gut health. So let's spray the golden citrine and see where it wants to lead us. Okay, so golden citrine. First off, I'm feeling, before I even spray it, this smells amazing, this one. I want to put the sun right into the center of our being. So let's just put our hands onto our solar plexus energy and let's just breathe in that beautiful golden light. Breathing in the gold and breathing out gold, breathing in gold and breathing out gold. And just seeing your cells filled with gold, seeing the digestive tract and the intestines filled with golden light. Beautiful little bubbles of light, but tiny little bubbles of light, like you're getting something like a tonic water or something, moving really effortlessly through the whole digestive tract, cleansing, refreshing, clearing. that whole area. But equally, the other lovely thing I like to do when I'm thinking about solar plexus is just imagining it as a battery that's just being topped up to full power. So take a note where yours is at the moment. Is it on 10%, 20%, 5%, 80%? Top it up to 100%. How do I do that? You breathe in the golden light. You imagine that golden light getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And it's like a force field. It's a defense field. It's your power center. And when that's really strong, there's not much that can rock you. If somebody says they disagree with you or they don't like you or you're an idiot or you're this or you're that, you're not rocked as much by it, okay? So the world is always going to have a degree of unpleasantness to it, but let's instead focus on the joy and the brightness, okay? So let's go back. Also, I want to bring in the Jophiel energy again. Let's bring Jophiel. Actively search for it is what he's saying. Actively search for the joy. Actively look for the pockets of joy. Actively look for moments of happiness. Ask yourself what it is that creates that for you. And start small is what he's saying. So I'm being shown, for example, I don't know, a cup of coffee. I'm being shown a small little animal like a squirrel. I'm being shown a flower. I'm being shown a favourite recipe that you're going to cook. I'm being shown the face of your child. I'm being shown the face of your lover. I'm being shown a beautiful necklace that somebody's given you that means something to you. I'm being shown a ring that's been passed down through a family. I'm being shown so many things. There are so many things that we don't just appreciate and acknowledge and say, wow, I've got this. How grateful am I? And of course, it's not just about the material things. It's about how somebody makes you feel. We've all got that friend, haven't we, or person in our life who, when we see them, we just smile. They just make us feel good. You know, tap into their energy a bit. You know, make sure they're okay as well. It's a reciprocal thing. But more than anything, the greatest gift you can give yourself this solstice is to disconnect, to reconnect, so that you can reconnect the parts of you that are wired for happiness, rather than feeding the neural pathways and the network within you, which is searching out for more gossip, slander, or reinforcement of a belief system that you may have inside yourself which is not serving you. So, for example, a belief system which is nothing good ever happens to me, or it could be financial as well. Gold is gold at the end of the day. You know, it's about abundance. It's that, you know, I'm never going to find a job. I'm never going to be properly rewarded. I'm losing more and more money. I'm whatever it is, you know, a lack and a scarcity type mindset. The more that you feed that, the more it's going to grow. The more that we focus on an abundant energy, the more that is going to grow. So it really is choice point times. But as I say, it's absolutely, I want to keep going back to this card, the Queen of Forces. It's not about just focusing on the light at the expense of the shadow. It's about this woman and this man and you and me. Hopefully we know that both coexist, and we've learned to straddle this dualistic world, to be in it, to not try to escape it. You know, we're not living in la la land and cuckoo land. We're actually present. We're here. We are following our routines and our structures that we need to maintain a healthy, happy life. And we're not going into this whole battleground, and we're not just staying with the crowd because we're safe with the crowd. It feels as though the crowd, it's not safe in the crowd, is what I'm wanting to say. It actually feels as though we're entering times where it's going to be safer to be out of the crowd. And by the crowd, I'm talking the matrix. It's like let me just get to Metatron here, because change happens within the mainstream, yes. He's giving me the analogy that the matrix at the moment, the mainstream, he's showing me like heavy scaffolding that's being taken down, which is a bit like a tower energy. And he's saying there's it's quite easy to get damaged there. It's quite easy to get hurt there, including by other people. But it's like falling masonry, which of course is symbolic. So it's better just to, if you can, guys, it's better just to try to be your own person at the moment, and just do you, basically. Just do you. And I felt this for a while, to be honest. It's as though, did I say this in my last video? Maybe I did. But I'm going to repeat it again because it's a good thing to say to end this video. But I was up with my dad and my brother and his wife, and we were having a meal in Yorkshire last week, and I don't see them very often, so it was nice. We were all sat around a table, and we just raised a glass at the end of the meal, or at the beginning of the meal, and we just said, despite everything that's happening in the world at the moment and the difficulties and just how crazy it is, cheers to us, cheers to us, cheers to our family, cheers to the love that's around the table, here's to health and blessings going forward. And that is where it's at. That's where it's at. Okay. We've also got the energy of protection, protecting your nest, protecting your home, protecting yourself from these other energies that are out there at the moment, which the card of influence, the card of ghosts. There's a lot of lost souls at the moment. The person you need to save is yourself. You can help others, you can support others, but you need to save yourself first. Okay, I'm being given the analogy of, being in a plane and the oxygen masks come down. You put your own mask on first. Yeah? Lots of love, everybody. Take great care. Future videos that I'm going to be doing quite soon, just to let you know. I said I wasn't, well, no, I did say I was going to do a twin flame, and then I decided I wasn't because I wasn't feeling it, and then I'm feeling it again. So I will be doing a twin flame update soon. I also received a new deck recently, a true crime deck, and I asked for guidance with regards to what missing person cases could I read on. I've obviously already read on Maddie. There were a few that were overwhelming. William Tyrrell in Australia. Yes, I will read on him. Interesting, my voice is going as I say his name. And I knew nothing about the case whatsoever. I threw some cards and tuned in, and I got something straight away. And then I read a little bit about the case, and it was like, oh, okay, I could be onto something. I don't want to say anything in this video. I might be wrong, but I would like to look at him. And a lot of people are asking for a read on that missing plane in Malaysia all those years ago. Yeah, those were the main two that I was called to do. There might be some others. I can't remember. There was another one. What was it? Oh, I can't remember now, guys. Can't remember. I need to go and get my cup of coffee, and I will leave it there. Lots of love. But yeah, there's always something different on this channel. If you've enjoyed this video, hopefully you'll enjoy some others. Oh, I'm going to be doing some Heart Squad videos soon as well. All right, I want to be doing a bit more channeling with regards to that. Lots of love. Take care. See you all soon. Bye-bye for now. Bye.